What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about: movies, video games, comic books, TV shows. If it's geeky, if it's nerdy, I love to talk about it right here and right now. I want to talk about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Yes, me and my 12-year-old son, when we got out of school yesterday, we came home and we binged this thing. We watched all 8 episodes from beginning to end without stopping, and it was really good. It was really good. I was surprised at how much I liked Camp Cretaceous, guys. It was good. It was good. I'm a big fan of the Jurassic Park movies. All 5 of them. I mean, 3. The rest of them are really good. And my son calls himself the biggest Jurassic Park fan in the world, and he just might be. And yeah, Camp Cretaceous brought the goods, and I like the way that they organized it. So it's got these what is it, 6 kids? 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe it's no, it's 6 kids. It's 6 kids. So it's got these 6 kids who, for whatever reason, winning a contest or daddy's rich or whatever it may be, they're the first ones to go to Camp Cretaceous, this camp on the other side of Jurassic World. By the way, this takes place during the events of Jurassic World, and they are on the other side of Jurassic World, and they're in this whole different camp that's just for kids. And it's kind of a spared no expense type place, right? And I like the way it was set up, in the sense that this movie runs parallel to the events of the Lost World. Not the Lost World. This movie runs parallel to the events of Jurassic World, the 4th movie. So there's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie where something happens in the Jurassic World movie, and it directly affects the events of this show. But I'll say this, that the first 3.5 episodes, it was just basically character development, us getting to know these kids, personalities. And yeah, they're kind of stereotypical kid personalities, but at the same time, it's forgivable because each one of these stereotypes play heavily into the plot. It's not just a device so we can find something to latch onto with each character. The stereotypes for each character plays heavily into the plot, and each character has a payoff at some point during these 8 episodes because of these stereotypical traits that they have. And you can make the argument that they're not really stereotypical if they actually do have these payoffs throughout the course of the series, and they absolutely do. So during the first 3.5 episodes, we're getting to know the kids, we're getting to know the camp counselors who are in charge of them, who are probably the worst camp counselors in the face of the earth, and we're getting to know some of the dinosaurs, which includes the primary antagonist of this series, which is not the Indominus Rex, it's the Carnotaurus. Definitely the primary antagonist. We run into a couple familiar faces. We see Wu, we see Dr. Wu. We hear Claire Dearing's name dropped. We hear her voice a couple times. They name drop some other characters from the Jurassic franchise. But mostly, this is the adventure of these 6 kids. And in episode 4, when the Indominus gets out and things go to heck, it's about these 6 kids trying to survive, trying to get from Camp Cretaceous to the ferries so they can escape Jurassic World and get home. And one of the biggest criticisms I heard about this series was, well, it's a cartoon. None of the kids are gonna die. Nobody's gonna die. Alright, first of all, let's rewind. When you say none of the kids are gonna die, name a Jurassic Park movie where one of the kids dies. I'll wait. You need help? Alright, let's figure this out. Jurassic Park, none of the kids die. The Lost World, none of the kids die. Jurassic Park 3, kid should have died, he didn't die. Jurassic World, none of the kids die. Fallen Kingdom, none of the kids die. What did I just say? None of the kids die. They're not going to kill the kids. They haven't killed the kids in any of the Jurassic movies. What makes somebody think that they're going to start now in a kids' TV show? That being said, people die. People die. Yes, in this kids' show, Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, people die. People get eaten. People that we meet and get to know and spend time with during the show get eaten. The Indominus Rex eats people in this. And we more or less see it. I mean, there's no blood or anything like that, but we see the Indominus... he's on the ground. And then we see the Indominus come down and chomp, and then, they use camera angles to keep you from actually seeing the dude get killed. But we see the Indominus Rex eat people. The Carnotaurus is who's called Toro, by the way, is a very real threat in this. And one thing that I really liked about this movie was the face-off that the kids eventually had to have against the Carnotaurus. This idea that he is the last obstacle that we have to get through to get to our freedom. This Carnotaurus, it's a great payoff. It's a great payoff, and I love the idea that they picked a dinosaur to be a antagonist that we haven't really seen a lot of, and that was great. So yeah, people die. The kids are in real danger. Kids almost die in this. There's a scenario where we think that a kid dies for a whole episode, and we're really not sure what happened to him. We know he's alive, but we're really not sure what happened to him when it all ends. This might be too much of a spoiler. There's a lot happening here, and kids are in real peril. You see in the trailer where there's a girl hanging over the Mosasaurus tank on the thing that the sharks hang on. And we see the Mosasaurus come up and tries to get her. These kids are in real danger. It might be the single most violent kids show I've ever seen. It's still a kids show. It's still a kids show, but it's probably the single most violent kids show I've ever seen. The animation was okay. I never felt like I was watching a live action movie. And sometimes in animation, that can happen to me, in the Clone Wars. There's been scenarios in Clone Wars. I restarted watching the Clone Wars recently. One of my students is like, Longcourse, you have to watch all these. So I restarted watching, and yeah, I gotta admit, I get into a point in the Clone Wars where I forget that I'm watching a cartoon. I've watched other cartoons like that, where you get into it and you forget you're watching it. And that never happened to me here. The animation was never convincing enough to me that I just kind of forgot that I was watching. I was always cognizant that this was a cartoon, this was a kid's show. But it was still engaging storytelling that I bought as a part of the canon. The biggest thing that I was afraid of was, well, they're saying it's canon, but it's going to be so ridiculous that there's no way it could be canon. Yeah, I buy this as being a part of the canon. As being a part of the Jurassic canon, I buy it. I believe that this happened. I believe this was happening during the events of Jurassic World. Because it's convincing enough. Even though it's not in live action, it was still convincing enough to make me believe that. So, guys, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous was the real deal. And there's going to be a season 2. They set it up nicely. It was a setup I wasn't expecting, but they set it up nicely. And it's coming. We're going to get a season 2. And I love that. And I especially love that because we didn't get a lot of action from some of our favorite dinosaurs. Never saw the T-Rex. Never really got to spend any time with the raptors, Blue and the raptors. That little bit in the first episode. But after that, never really got to spend any time with the raptors. But that makes sense. Remember, during the events of Jurassic World, the raptors were off having their own adventure. The T-Rex was safely behind bars in his paddock for most of Jurassic World. So it makes sense that these are characters we didn't get to spend a lot of time with. Hoping that in the sequel, Season 2, we're going to be able to spend some time with these dinosaurs. Because they're some of my favorites, right? So, I don't know. Guys, I really liked Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. I was really shocked at how much I liked it and how good it was. So, definitely recommend you watching it. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Put out a lot of content. Want to make sure you're up to date with what I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much for joining me here at the OK Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we'd love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.